Hi, this intervention activity is called Dot It, and I'll show you a few different ways that you can play this with some of your students who require a bit of extra help. This activity focuses on really foundational numeracy skills like subitizing, being able to recognize a number without counting. We really want to encourage these kids not to necessarily count one to one, but just to be able to look at some dots and recognize the number. It focuses on one-to-one correspondence and cardinality, so it's a really good activity to get them up in their counting skills. I'm going to use a whiteboard. You can use a piece of paper. The instructions say to cut the paper into 6 pieces. You can even cut it into 4 if you need. I'm just going to cut mine into 4 today. Okay, you can modify it however you want. The instructions ask you to ask the student to name a number between 1 and 20. You can certainly do that, but if students need something even simpler than that, then you have tools that you can use. You could start with just numbers 1 to 6 by rolling a 6-sided dice. That might be a little bit more fun than having the kids come up with it. You also have in your Boxcars kits at your school different sided dice here. So this one is 1 to 12. They might be different colors within your school. And this one is a 1 to 20. So depending on what the kids are working on, you could use different sided dice to come up with that number. You can also use cards. And again, you can remove cards that you don't want students to use. So if we just want to focus on 1 to 10, then take out those numbers that are too high and don't use them. Of course, a deck of cards is only going to go to 12. So I don't know. I feel like this is maybe a more fun way to come up with a number than just asking the student name a number. Okay, I'm going to use my 12-sided dice here to show you how we can play this game. So let's roll the dice, and oh, we got 12, the biggest number we can get. So you can have your group of students all represent 12 using dots. Remember, we're using dots. Or there's another example where if you're working one-on-one with a student, they create it on their page and you create it on yours. And when we ask students to draw dots, we don't want to push. Just a simple dot like that is fine. So I'm going to draw 12 dots, and I'm going to count them as I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's my 12 dots. Now, you can have students maybe rotate their papers and we're going to count each other's, or you can count your own and share. You can do it however you want. But some interesting things you can do with this are, let's say we've rotated and I'm looking at my student is looking at my dots. We might encourage them to count them. And so if they start at 1, that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's one-to-one correspondence. That's great. But if they're ready for it, we want to discourage them from actually counting by one-to-one, and we want to see if they can subitize. So the first thing I might ask is, well, do you know what this is? Do you know how many dots are there? And if they can subitize 6, then they're going to say 6. And then we can say, great, you know that there's 6. So we don't need to count those because you already know that that's 6. So let's start at 6 and keep going. So we can go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We want students to work with what they already know rather than always relying on counting from 1. If they don't know all 6, then you can say, okay, that's okay. How many are there? Right? There's 3 there. And so let's start counting from 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. So discourage kids from counting just from 1 if they're ready for it and get them to start counting up by 6. Okay, next number, we're going to roll the dice again, and we have 3. So how can we represent 3? Have everyone at your table draw 3. Represent it, talk about it. This one should be easily subitized. Again, if you have kids who are starting 1, 2, 3, that's okay, but we want to push them out of starting at 1, even starting at 2. How many is that? 2, okay. And one more is 3. Get them to record what they know. I'm going to keep going. Ooh, I got a 6. I'm going to record this as 1, 2. See if you can start getting creative and see different ways that we could be recording our 6 dots. Again, discourage kids from starting from 1. See if they can start from what they know. I'm going to start, I know this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see all the different ways of representing that number. And of course, you can get higher with numbers like, 20. How would I record 20? That's an interesting one. I think I'm going to do it in fives. And you know, on a dice pattern, fives look like that, right? And how many of those do I need? That's 5, 10. If kids aren't ready to skip count right now, which they probably aren't if they're working at this level, that's perfectly okay. Skip counting is a much higher skill than counting, so we don't need to push them to skip count at this point. What do we know? Well, I know that that's 5, so I'm going to keep counting on from there. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, good. Okay, let's stop. We're going to circle this. We know that that's 10. Okay, let's keep going. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Ooh, we have another 10 now, right? This is 10, this is 10, and together these make 20. Let's count on from 20. 21, 22, 23. Oh, I went too far. I went 25. Ignore me, I went too far. 2 groups of 10, we know that that equals 20. Okay, so this is just a way that you can play this game or this activity. Dot it for your students who are at risk in counting. Thanks, have fun.